thanks to a special program sponsored by Ford Motor Company and others, tens of thousands of young Americans got to experience the Boss 429 in a very unique way. Al Ekstrand was a corporate lawyer and a champion superstock drag racer. He was also a man with a mission.
We were losing significant numbers of returning servicemen from Vietnam in accidents with cars that they weren't capable of driving. They get mustered out of the service with, I think, $3,500, which puts you behind the wheel of a 425 horsepower car. And they were piling into embankments along motorways. And instead of being sympathized or given help, these guys were criticized. The whole thing seemed out of whack to me.
Ekstrand and a group of his friends formed the United States Performance Team and sold Ford on the idea of touring Vietnam with a convoy of high-performance cars to promote safe driving to military personnel.
What we ought to do is build a car, get some reasonable safety techniques developed and a way of presenting them to troops that they'd buy. And the fact that with the credibility that drag racing had brought me, and at least using that credibility that I had from drag racing, maybe they'd listen to what I had to say.
The Marine Corps picked up on Al's idea, and before long, Ekstrand and his hand-picked race team were in country.
The ground rules for the program were that the government would pay nothing for this. My sponsors were to foot the bill. We needed a car that was built that would stand all the rigors of what we wanted to do with it. When I wanted the car, I wanted one of them to be very, very unique, that people would look at. That's why the Boss 429 came to mind.
Al's Boss ran 8-second quarter miles, blasting down everything from airstrips to helicopter landing pads. 5 other Mustangs in the troop were cars for the GIs to drive in safety demonstrations.
We ran it in various places. Airfield at Naha, Okinawa. We ran it on aircraft carriers. It was a real attention getter. And then when we got the message sold about racing, they'd listen to what we had to say about safety.
After being away from the States for a few months, a chance to get close to a good old American muscle car was good medicine for some servicemen.
Another hospital we were standing at, they brought a car to a window outside. And it was an amputee ward. Guys started to come out in crutches. They got up out of the beds, and I stood there in the ward looking out at the car, and I thought, my God, how no one realizes how powerful the automobile is to American youth.
For 3 years, Ekstrand's United States Performance Team toured bases all over Asia, from the largest and best equipped to the smallest and most remote. This troop never failed to put on a great show and bring home a little closer for muscle car fans in uniform. Al Ekstrand continues to race one of those 2 original blown Boss 429s today. The other was destroyed in transit overseas. And once in a while, he meets someone who remembers the car from his tour in Vietnam.
What made the companionship with the guys was the genuine credibility that Mustang presented to the group. We never had any trouble with it. It never gave us any difficulties, and that's the same car today.
It takes a pretty special car to make that kind of impression, but the Boss Mustangs were cars that made an impression, then and now. In the 2 years Ford made the Boss 302 and 429, they grabbed all the headlines in Trans Am racing. They combined the Mustang's sporty essence with the raw power of the muscle era. And thanks to Al Ekstrand and his team of racers, the Boss made the dream of going home and buying a muscle car a little more real for thousands of American servicemen. That's a pretty good resume for a car that was only around for a couple of years. Thanks for watching, and please don't crush them, restore them.